We are live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cricket Addicts. I've got Shubham and Somit with me today to discuss all things about the World Cup that's happening in the US. We had a great match yesterday, Australia versus Scotland. It looked really close. Looked really close. We can just start off from there, I guess, from yesterday's game. Somit. Uh, England were almost going to go out. That would have been very funny. And
Yeah,
I would have been really happy, even if India didn't win the World Cup, seeing England go out in the group stages again, like last year. Talk to us about how good Australia are, and talk to us about England as well. What have you seen from them?
yeah. I think England was good in this tournament. Like, if we remove the rain, that match where between Scotland and England, like they didn't play that match, so it was not in England's hand. If you compare England and Pakistan, the performances of these two teams, England was good, better, and they also chased the target in 3.1 overs. Yeah, it was against the minnow, but it's okay. But England was good overall. But if we talk about Australia, in yesterday's match, uh, the second half of the match was in Scotland's hand actually. For They were 47 for 2 in 8 overs, if I'm not wrong. Then how Scotland gave away that match to Australia, and this actually shows how the ability of the experienced side like Australia, how they were able to be in the game till the end of the game, and they were able to chase it down. And 180 was not a big total for Australia, but it was a bit difficult because the first half was not in Australia's favor. So they capitalized in the second half. They played well. Their players showed up, like Travis Head. I think first time I saw Travis Head bat that slow. Like he was when I saw he was 34 or 33. I never saw him that slow. Even in the World Test Championship, like he had a strike rate of 100 in a Test match, and he was batting like that. For some moment, I thought that there is something going on because of those statements by Hazelwood and all. I thought for the the second inning of the match was completely in Scotland's favor, as I told, like for the first 10 overs. So I thought that Mitchell Marsh might get banned, or some things might happen in future if Australia loses. But yeah, they were able to manage it properly. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been really funny, as I said, if
Yeah.
England would have gone out. Shubham, let's go to Group B actually, now that we've started discussing England and Australia. Australia beat England in a very key game. I think that's where we left off last week. We had
Yep.
obviously the big game, India Pakistan, and we had India England. It was a very key game, and Australia ended up winning that. They scored 200, and England just can't chase that. And Australia have looked very, very accomplished. They beat Namibia. They chased 74 in 5.4 overs. Um so yeah, they just look good. England beat Oman as well. They chase 47 in 3.1 overs. This part of the World Cup, you see like all these kind of results, and it's a little, I don't want to say boring, but it's a little, not that interesting. You want to get to the Super Eights where the good teams, or at least the informed teams, are playing against the other informed teams. But talk to us about Group B. England obviously go on to beat Namibia as well yesterday, the day before
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yesterday it was a 10 over game because of rain. But yeah, just
Yeah.
picking up on Somit's point as well. Well, Australia didn't look 100% in the game yesterday against Scotland, but still managed to win pretty comfortably, you could say, with 3, 4 balls to spare. And for the majority of part of the game, as Somit said, Scotland looked on top, but at the end, it was Australia who won the game. So you can just, that showcases the strength and the experience which they have. So definitely, I would say Australia look one of the top teams for the trophy as a contender for the trophy. England, I would say, now become dangerous in the Super 8s. They have found some form. They have won against Namibia. You saw their batting against Namibia, 120 odd runs in just 10 overs. So that pretty much also gives you an idea that they could have chased that 109 against Scotland in 10 overs. So they have the batting, they have the bowling with the likes of Archer, Topley, Adil Rashid coming into form, picking up 4 wickets against Oman. So England, and that group also is pretty interesting. We'll come to that Super 8 group because there are three big teams and then USA, I guess. So that would be really interesting. But I think both these teams are pretty much really strong contenders for the semi-final and the final as well. I would say so. It's going to be really interesting going forward.
Yeah, we talked about maybe Australia doing not doing a favor for England actually and losing that game. Do you think anything was going on? Guys like Tim Payne were talking about that. I was really surprised by like all the stuff that was coming out. Tim Payne saying that if you have a chance to eliminate competition, then you should take that, like regardless if it means losing or not. What was your kind of whole take? Because I was really surprised. I was thinking like at the end of the day, these are like, yeah, 11 professionals that want to win. It doesn't matter uh, if any team goes through, who doesn't go through. They just want to win, and that's like the mindset that you have to play with, right? Like otherwise, there's no point in playing the game. You play the game to win. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I completely agree with your point that they were definitely looking to win. I think the Hazelwood comment was, if possible, you would like to go slow, but we will
Hmm.
still win the game. We'll go slow, but we'll still win the game, so that that net run rate thing would have come into play. But obviously, England got that net run rate way above Scotland, and then the only result which would eliminate England was if Australia lost the game. But as you said, I think at the end of the day, if you want to win the World Cup, you want to beat the best teams, and England is one of the top teams. So if you want to win the World Cup, if they meet you in the semi-final, the final, you have
Yeah.
to go ahead and beat them, and then you will win the World Cup. So I think Australia, those comments were pretty surprising from Tim Payne from outside. I would say Hazelwood's comment was more about net run rate and trying to go slow. I don't think they ever said that they will look to lose the game. And
Yeah.
yesterday, as we saw, they it looked like they were like not 100%, but obviously they at the end they won the game. So there are like no questions asked about Australia and Mitchell Marsh as well. I think Somit would agree on that as well. That as Australia, if you're playing for Australia, you're looking to win each and every game for the country.
Yeah,
Yeah, feel bad for Scotland as well because Scotland played well. This initial part of the World Cup, it's really hard to tell, and especially the conditions, the format. It's hard to tell which teams are good. Like are USA good because they beat Pakistan? Are they better than Scotland because Scotland are knocked out? No, it's really hard to tell. So I just feel bad for Scotland. They played some good cricket and they haven't made it out of the group. Uh, Australia and England go through. Australia look like a complete package. They look really good. Let's talk about England, Somit, a little bit. Not the best World Cup for them. Losing to Australia and drawing that match, or the game getting washed out against Scotland, and they conceded a lot of runs in those first 10 overs. They probably would have fancied their chances to chase that total. Talk to us about England. They made a couple of changes. Will Jacks was dropped, I think, yesterday. Johnny Bairstow came in at 3 and played really well. Harry Brook finally, he looked good. So his decision to not play the IPL turned out to be a good decision instead of playing county cricket. Talk to us about England, and how do you think they're going to get through the Super 8s as well?
yeah, they are back in form, as Shubham mentioned. Like England will be dangerous now because going into Super 8s and these kind of big teams perform well in big stages. We have seen they also won the World Cup a couple of years ago. and how they beat India in that World Cup. That also shows like how these big teams perform on big stages. And I also wanted to mention, you said that it was not a good tournament for England, but I don't believe it was not a good tournament for England so far, because they only lost against Australia. And okay, if that match was won by England, in spite of Australia, would have you said that Australia was not a good team or somewhat like that? I don't think so, because if we compare England and Pakistan, as I told earlier, Pakistan lost to a nation like a non-test playing nation like USA, and against India also they didn't perform well because it was their game. They were not able to capitalize on that. So I think if we compare these two teams, then is England has done a lot in this tournament. Like, yeah, they lost against Australia, but only one match they have lost, and against Scotland it was washed out. So that draw was unfortunate for England, but they have not done anything wrong in this tournament. But yeah, they might feel that they were on that verge of getting eliminated from the World Cup because of that one loss against Australia, or due to rain, you can say, yesterday as well. So I think, yeah, their morale might be down because they came back from that verge of getting eliminated to Super 8s. Their morale might be down, but they will do well because it's England. England is a strong side. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Yeah.
Yeah, England have all the tools, Shubham, it feels like.
Yeah.
What I meant that is that from what we expect from England, maybe we didn't get see that, especially in the
Yeah, you
first two
can say
games.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the first two
Exactly.
games. After that, you saw what they did against
Yeah.
Namibia and Oman.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
they're the best. But Shubham, they've got the tools, as I said. They've got
Yeah,
the
definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I agree with Somit here that it was mostly because of rain. If they had been eliminated, yeah, they lost to Australia, but as you can say, the Australia England game was obviously a 50-50 game anytime. Most of the days, you would say that Australia has been a pretty good team in the T20 format. England as well has been a pretty good team, but I think they got their tactics wrong in that game. And
Yeah.
they started off with Moeen Ali and Will Jacks. There are six people who have joined us, by the way. Six people have joined us. So anybody, if they have any questions or would like to ask any questions, or if have any comments about the ongoing T20 World Cup cricket in USA, you can definitely go ahead and ask them as well. But yeah, talking about England, I think they have the tools. They have done many things right in this World Cup. As you said, beating Oman, the way they defeated them in 3.1 overs, fantastic. Yesterday with Namibia as well, winning by a pretty heavy margin of 40 runs. And then the only game which they lost was Australia. So I wouldn't take that game as like the that seriously because it's always a 50-50 game. But yeah, looking forward, I think England will be definite top contenders for the semi-finalists, considering the group they are in. It's a three-way group, three teams group. We'll come to that. There are a couple of questions coming in. How's the toast, Shubham sir? So just to give you a heads up, I've been given
What
breakfast here
toast?
from Mr.
Oh,
Raj.
okay. That's
I
why
have
he's been
my
hiding.
breakfast here. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you
So
are in Atlanta, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, I'm in Atlanta right now, so I've got the breakfast in my hand while the podcast is on. But yeah, moving on, I think we can move to the next group, Nikhil. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on to Group A, India's group. Uh, India versus Pakistan was where we left off. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about it. Feels like such a long time ago. I guess what I'll say is that better team won, and
Yeah.
Pakistan watched another chase, so that was good to see. Uh, because of that, and they had another game that got uh, no. I think US and Ireland had a game that got rained out, because of which US goes through. Pakistan, I think they still have a game left, but they're not going to be called. They're not going to be qualified. They've been eliminated. Uh, Somit, let's go to you. India
Before
was
that, I
yeah.
I just want to add, like, just for 5 minutes we can discuss on this. What would have happened if in that India versus Pakistan match, India would have lost? So I'm just looking at the points table now. So India
I
would have
think.
had 5 points and
Correct.
Pakistan would have had 4 points. So, and
Yeah.
look at the run rate between India and USA. It's just 0.1, zero 1 actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the no, sorry. The run rate would have played a big role in this because there's a difference of
But then
one.
India
Yeah, one
losing to
point. Yeah,
Pakistan would have
yeah,
made that India
exactly,
having less run rate because of yeah.
exactly. So
It
yeah,
would have
what
been
do you
close,
think
yeah.
about India then? How was India's journey in this World Cup? Because see, one match you had a match against Ireland and USA,
Yeah.
so those are the winners, okay. And USA
Ye-
also, it was a bit challenging for us. Like thank God, Surya stepped in that match. And the other thing is versus Pakistan. What if we lost that?
Hmm.
It would have been miserable. Just thinking
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
that, because
if
50
I
of
can call
53.
in
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go on.
no, I think you're right there. The game against Pakistan, India got away with that because of some exceptional bowling from Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj as well. Even though he didn't
Hmm.
pick up a wicket, he was fantastic. Arshdeep towards the end, and then Aksar bowling that crucial over. I think we took a bit of time to understand the New York pitch, and towards the end, we realized that this is not a 150, 160 wicket as well. It's just 140, and even if you get to 140, that's enough. But I think in the for in that game against Pakistan specifically, India went too hard and they looked to get to 150, 160, which was never going to be that case because it was such a difficult wicket to bat on. So I think India got away with that game. But I think going forward on good pitches, India have a pretty strong bowling lineup with Bumrah in the form of his life, and Arshdeep bowling well with the new ball. And I think Kuldeep will definitely come in the West Indies leg. So you have three really good bowlers with Aksar chipping in, and Hardik Pandya as well. In fact, I missed out on Hardik Pandya. He has been absolutely fantastic with the ball. 7 wickets so far, I think, in just 3 games. So
Yeah,
we can't. Yeah, so I think India have a pretty good bowling lineup, and once Virat Kohli gets some runs, I think India have a pretty good side to make it to the semis, considering the group they are in. They have Afghanistan and mostly Bangladesh. Along with Australia, so India definitely have a chance to make to the semis. But yeah, I think against Pakistan, India got away with some exceptional bowling. They were poor with the bat, I would say.
yeah. Our batters need to step up in
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
yeah, in West Indies level.
Yeah, but at the same
And
time, Nikhil, as you are in USA right now, what do you think? How USA has played? Do you think they're deserved? Do you think they deserve to make to the Super Eights? Because yeah, they defeated Pakistan, so you have to say that they did enough to make it to the Super Eights. But your thoughts on USA and how they have played so far?
Yeah, again, the T20 format, it's so fragile. It feels like, it's hard to tell if if USA really, like, the type of cricket they played and the way they played, whether they merit to go on, or whether Pakistan were just so bad that whoever was the next best basically made it. I think that's the question that you have to ask. But listen, they beat Pakistan. They held their nerve in that super over. I think they were amazing. Um, they were very, very good against Pakistan. They historic result really for them, and then beating Canada as well on that opening day. Like, don't forget. I still think, does Aaron Jones still have the top score of the World Cup? I think in the first game.
Yeah, 94. I don't think anybody
Yeah,
has
and I think
crossed that. So.
yeah, and like
Yeah,
I
sorry.
was I
Sorry.
was seeing those numbers, like highest strike rate and stuff and most runs, and Aaron Jones's 94 is still like up there on
Yeah,
the first day. So that,
yeah,
like, don't forget that innings. I think that was a crucial innings because Canada were looking good. Canada had posted a good score, and that chase was going to be tough, and USA did really well there.
yeah, yeah,
Obviously, our boy Saurabh Netravalkar, amazing tournament.
yeah.
You're gonna have
I would
to.
suggest you connect with him on LinkedIn. That
Yeah,
would be
I
the right
should
way.
honestly, yeah. Ask him for some tips. Not about
Yeah.
bowling, about how to, get into Oracle and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
more important,
that's
I think,
important.
for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we can't definitely make the USA
Yeah.
cricket side. But yeah, I agree with Nikhil with that point where Pakistan were a bit too poor that the next best team USA qualified for the Super Eights. Because Pakistan, you expected them to qualify for the Super Eights. Obviously, they didn't look like a top four team, but they
Yeah.
should have qualified for the Super Eights, defeating USA. And then Canada they defeated. Probably if they could have defeated Ireland as well, they can. The game starts in a few minutes if if the game happens. But yeah, I think I agree with Nikhil there. But USA, you have to give credit to them. I think Somit wants to jump in here. Yeah, Somit, go ahead.
So yeah, you said that the next best team was USA. So before the tournament, were you thinking USA? Because Ireland is a test playing nation. So
Yeah,
before the
I
tournament,
wouldn't.
what
Yeah,
was it?
definitely
Okay.
Ireland. Definitely. I in fact,
Yeah,
if you remember, we had one of the auctions where I picked Paul Sterling because I expected him to score runs heavily.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they had two games in New York where he couldn't get going, obviously, and then the washed out game against USA. But yeah, USA have done well because you never expected them to make to the Super 8s. As you said, Ireland, test playing nation, has
yeah,
pretty good T20 players: Paul Sterling, Balbrine, Joshua Little plays in the IPL, Mark Adair,
yeah,
really good all rounders. So yeah, I think Ireland would be really disappointed with their performance. But
yeah.
yeah, USA
And
have been fantastic.
I also noticed that you said that Kuldeep Yadav will be coming in the squad,
Yeah,
in the playing
yeah,
11 for the
I
West
hope
Indies.
so.
yeah,
He's in my
definitely.
option
Yeah,
squad.
so you're saying that Jadeja will be dropped because you also mentioned
No,
Aksar will be playing.
I think India will go in with three spinners. One of the pacers
Three
would be dropped.
spinners,
Either
okay.
yeah, either Arshdeep or Mohammad Siraj will
I
be
don't
dropped
think so.
because
They are, because there is
Hardik,
some left arm quota going on in Indian.
yeah.
Hardik's bowling
No,
form
no,
really helped, I think.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I think Hardik's bowling form will allow them to drop a pacer and get in Kuldeep Yadav because in West Indies you need spin, and I think Kuldeep is our best spinner at this point, so he definitely comes in.
Do you think that
For
was
whom?
the planning from the beginning that
Yeah, yeah,
Kuldeep
yeah.
was always going to come in?
Yeah. I think Kuldeep is. I think he was only dropped because it was the New York pitch.
Mm.
If
Yeah,
in
yeah.
yeah, if in USA as well, if there was spin on offer, then Kuldeep would have played it. The New York pitch, as we all know, it was all about pace.
Yeah.
Spin didn't really work on it. So yeah, that's the only
It
reason.
looks like Arshdeep might be the second pacer now. That's something that they
Yeah.
probably didn't expect. But they might have expected that we'll just drop Arshdeep and Bumrah and Siraj and Hardik and that's it. But Arshdeep has had a good tournament. He always feels like a very underrated guy in white ball cricket, especially in India. He's so good swinging the ball up front. I don't think since Bhuvneshwar Kumar we haven't really had like a proper swing bowler. Siraj swings it a little bit, but proper like he'll use the conditions really well. If it's like
Mm-hmm.
cloudy, overcast, he's gonna get it swinging. So I think he's had a really good tournament. And yeah, you guys have anything else about the
Uh,
Chahal still
Rishabh
have to
Pant?
wait.
Huh?
Chal,
Chahal
Chal,
still have to wait to get a game.
yeah,
T20
unfortunately.
World Cup. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Again, I will go ahead and say I don't think Chal is going to play a single game in this T20 World Cup
Oh,
again.
okay.
yeah. I,
But the
Unfortunate.
Banyan boy is visible. Yeah,
Yeah,
behind
I
you.
agree. Chal is not. Unfortunately, he's not going to get a game. That's going to be really sad after his career is not having played a single World T20 game. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Rishabh Pant at three has been really good. I don't know from where this
Yeah.
idea came. Whether it was like Rohit Sharma's idea, Rishabh Pant's idea, maybe one of the coaching staff, Rahul Dravid. But Pant at three has really worked. It gives
Yeah.
us that left-hander spin
Left-hander.
combination. Yeah. And Pant, I've always felt like in the middle order, the reason he's a little wasted is because he's so good against space, and he's maybe not that good against spin. I mean, he's good
I
at
completely agree. He is good against spin in tests. In
yeah,
tests, he's really good against spin, but in T20s, he doesn't really smash spin. So I think
yeah.
you make a really good point there. So yeah.
And Shivam Dube, like I again, the pitches have been different, so I guess it's fine. Uh,
Yeah.
because in New York we haven't had a lot of spinners bowling, but in
Yeah.
the West Indies, you think Shivam, you think his performances have been a little bit, they haven't been the best. You think
Below
there's
par.
any danger
Yeah,
of
below
him
par.
getting dropped? Sanju Samson's there waiting
Uh,
patiently.
Not as of now. I think the team will give him two more opportunities, especially in West Indies where more spinners will come into play. And if you look at each team's composition, everybody has a left arm spinner or a leg spinner, which is
Mm.
what Shivam Dube's forte is. He'll come in at
Mm.
number five if he can get a couple of sixes away against the spinners, he will start get going, and then you could see a big score from him. But yeah, he's definitely been below par. But again, batting against pace is not his strength. The New York pitch is definitely not helping that. Didn't help that. So I would say they will give him two more opportunities, and if he fails miserably, then you might see Sanju Samson coming in at number five,
Yeah,
who
even I am not. Yeah,
hmm,
sorry. Go.
who no, and that will really make our fourth panelist who is not present today, Kevin, really happy if that happens.
Yeah,
But yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to mention about Shivam Dubey. I am not against his batting or against him getting into the 11, but I don't like his footwork. That I wanted to mention. Like always plays, always slogs, and there is no footwork, no front foot, nothing. So yeah, that's what I wanted to mention about
It
Shivam
feels
Dubey.
like that he's just doing whatever worked for him in the IPL right now, which
Yeah,
is just basically he just clears his front leg and just goes for it,
yeah.
just whacks it.
There was someone like there was Sehwag who used to play like this, but he had that technique to play with
Yeah.
his hands. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Against
Shivam
good
do.
fast bowling, Shivam Dube has been caught out a bit, I think. And
Yeah,
especially, I think on that New York pitch, when you bowl those like hard lengths that Hardik Pandya was bowling really well. I think
yeah,
regardless, those lengths are just really hard to hit.
yeah,
And he kind of struggled a bit in the middle overs, and there wasn't a lot of spin being bowled. So it wasn't his game. But India have backed him, and I think they'll just back him throughout the World Cup, regardless of what happens. Hopefully, he gets a good score, and hopefully, he's able to, like, even if he wins us one game, like in the Super
yeah,
Eights, in the
exactly,
semi-finals, I think that's worth
yeah,
it.
exactly. And
yeah,
India has to back him because they
Yeah,
selected him. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's their duty. Yeah,
Yeah, no, but
I
I
agree.
completely agree with Sumit there. As you know, Shivam Dube has a lot of weaknesses, but the reason he's picked is for his only strength, or for his major strength, which is hitting spin. And I think in West Indies
slog.
that would
Yeah,
be the key factor. So yeah, I think as you said, footwork, looking really ugly against pace. We have seen that in the IPL as well. He is not comfortable against pace, but against spin, if it is in his zone, you will see it out of the ground. And make no mistake, Afghanistan has three spinners. So that first game in the Super 8 against Afghanistan, Shivam Dube has to step up, and has to step up big time. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, there's one more player that we'll talk about from India. I mean, I think it's gotten to a point where we don't need to talk about him, because like we'll only talk about him if something like out of the ordinary has happened, and nothing of that sort has happened. It's Bumrah. I think he's just been world class for so long. It's ridiculous. I mean, for 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 Indian fans to have like a fast bowler in all three formats who is so good, and in whatever phase he's bowling, it feels, you I always thought that Jasprit Bumrah's like action and the way he bowls, like that would be worked out at some point, like how to negotiate, his late release point and the swing that he gets and whatever his yorkers. But it just doesn't seem to have happened, and he's literally one of the best in all three formats. It's a joke, honestly. He's so good.
I would go ahead and say he is India's best fast bowler across formats. I would say all-time great.
Ever.
I don't see I've ever seen a fast bowler by India, like an Indian fast bowler has done well in all three formats. You look at the England
Yeah.
Test series, which happened early this year, January, Feb, March, I would say. 5 wicket haul where there was nothing for pacers. A reverse swing, bowling Yorkers to Ollie Pope, if you might have seen, getting Ben Stokes bowled. Then you saw the World Cup last year where he was again
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. And then the T20 format is his best format. Bowling, he has all the variations: the bouncer, the Yorker, the slower ball. He swings it up front. He can deliver whenever you want. And against Pakistan, I think it was just top
yeah.
class bowling from a top class bowler. No words, no words.
He just
Bumrah
has
will
to
Yes,
not
stay
be
Sumit.
fit.
remembered for his wickets. He will definitely not be remembered for that, like getting wickets. But for he will be remembered for his impact
Yeah.
in each and every game. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I
those
think
dot
the
balls and all. Yeah,
The
Go
thing
on.
about Indian fast bowlers is that we've never had a fast bowler who's like dominated across like the world. Who's been like number one in the world. Maybe we've got like a few fast bowlers who are good in Indian conditions and did well in some test matches here, one ODI series there. But this guy's been dominating world cricket for so long. It's a joke, and he's been the best. So it's
Yeah,
good to see. Hope he
yeah,
stays fit, and
yeah,
hope he continues to play for India in test matches and all World
yeah.
Cups.
And
Hopefully,
I think he will be key in this upcoming Border Gavaskar Trophy as well in December,
yeah, he will be key. If
November,
Shami is
December.
not fit, he will
Yeah,
be very important.
yeah,
But there are
definitely. Yeah.
some cons with Bumrah. I've seen he has not performed in any of the knockout games. Maybe like, yeah,
Hmm.
he has performed in some of them. But if you see ICC Test Championship, I don't think so. Against New Zealand also in 2021, he was not able to pick up a wicket, and even in this World Cup, he might have created chances, but not able to pick those wickets. But yeah, and
I think
we
he
can't we
was.
can't blame one particular bowler. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying like that, but yeah, in knockout games, I have not seen him picking up wickets.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I
I
think
do.
that's been a
Case
label that
for
a lot of
all
Indian
Indian
players
players.
have given.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
you
for it,
can say like
Shubham.
that.
You are saying
Yeah.
something.
No, I was saying that he did pretty well in the final. Obviously, we
Hmm.
can't mention the final much because we might get triggered and
Yeah, it's
scarred.
okay.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah,
Don't.
Yeah, yeah. But moving on to the next group, let's just move on quickly
yeah.
to the next group
Yeah,
because we can't discuss more about the
Let's
finals. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Group C. Pretty early on, we kind of realized who was going to go through. I think after New Zealand losing that early game, and Afghanistan and West Indies both looking so good, it was pretty much confirmed Afghanistan and West Indies have qualified now. I think they still have one game left, and the group is done. Afghanistan look very, very, very good. I think you would say they're probably the best performing team of the World Cup so far. Fazalak Faruqi up front, amazing, and Gurbaz and Zadran up front in the power play. But Soumit, let's go to you. How good have Afghanistan been, man? I mean, they're in our group, and it's going to be a tough game against them. It's not going to
yeah,
be easy. I'm honestly a little worried about that. Like, forget about
yeah.
Australia.
They,
Afghanistan's going to be probably even
yeah,
more tough.
they have like top run getters of this tournament and top wicket
Yeah,
takers of this tournament, and also
yeah,
Rashid Khan has also done really well,
yeah,
and the other players have also stepped up in each and every game, so they have played really well. It's not easy. Like we are saying that the second group is a bit difficult because we have England, South Africa, and West Indies in it, but I think this group is also a bit
yeah,
challenging for India, Australia. Of course, Australia is one of the challenge, and apart from that, we do have Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not a easy team to play against. And as Shubham also mentioned, I don't know more about how the pitches in West Indies are, but as Shubham mentioned earlier, that those are spin friendly, and if any of the pitches uh, spin friendly, then Afghanistan will definitely come into the game because
yeah.
of the spinners they have, Nabi, Rashid, Mujib. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And the fact that they don't even need to play all four. I mean, they probably shouldn't even play all four, but they've got like four top quality spinners that would probably get into any other team other than India, obviously.
yeah.
Uh, but
And yeah,
Shubham,
is Noor Ahmed playing? Like
Yeah,
he's in the
Mujib.
squad.
No, Mujib got ruled out. He's injured and he's
right.
ruled
Oh,
out. So
okay,
Noor
okay.
is playing in place of him in the
Oh,
11. So
okay.
yeah,
Got
yeah,
it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry,
But I
Nikhil, go
mean,
ahead.
Shubham, other than that, we'll stick with you. Other than that, their batting in the power play has been really good. Gurbaz
Yeah,
at the top, I think he's the top run getter
top
this
run
year.
getter. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He's kind of gone under the radar. I think Afghanistan's like power play batting has just gone under the radar because like they don't really they've not had like huge scores to chase, or if they're batting first they haven't made huge scores, and they've just gone about their jobs so like professionally. So like it's been perfect, honestly. They've gone under the radar, and it's going to be a tough match against India. I mean, the way they
Yeah,
beat
I
New Zealand, I think we might have talked
yeah.
about it in the last podcast, but I mean
Last
that
yeah, we
was so
heard.
impressive. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the key for Afghanistan coming into the
yeah,
tournament. They obviously had the bowlers, they had the spinners, and then Fazalak Faruqi with the new ball. And don't underestimate Naveen Ullah as well. He's a pretty good T20 bowler, goes around and plays in all the T20 leagues, whether it's the IPL, the Big Bash League, the PSL. So he's definitely a pretty handy T20 bowler. So the bowling they had, but as you said, the batting has stepped up, and Ramanullah Gurbaz, the experience of playing around in all the T20 leagues. He came in for Phil Salt for KKR towards the end
yeah,
in those three games and did pretty well, played his part, which helped KKR win the title as well. So Ramanullah Gurbaz, Ibrahim Sadran as well. His strike rate
yeah,
before the tournament started was 107 in the T20 format in the T20 internationals, but he has stepped up big time. And then you have obviously have the experience of Mohammad Nabi, Gulpati Naib, and even Najibullah Zadran a couple of times has stepped up with a small cameo. So yeah, pretty handy batting. And then, as we said, the bowling was always there. So Afghanistan, as you said, that first game, 20 June, India versus Afghanistan. Don't underestimate Afghanistan. Three spinners. If India gets stuck against those spinners, there's nowhere to go. We saw that in the New Zealand game. New
yeah.
Zealand had nowhere to go. And remember, Fazilak Faruqi with that left arm swing might just get two of the biggest wickets in Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, because as we all know, left arm pace against these two batters is a
Yeah.
nightmare. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting game. 28th June, India versus Afghanistan. So don't underestimate that at all.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's going to be tough, and I think they're real challengers. I think if even if no one wants to like admit that they're real challengers, I could. I mean, it's a little tough to see. But like, what if I ask you that Afghanistan win the World Cup? Would you be very surprised, Somit, or would you still be like obviously like that's such a good team? I think there'll be
I
like the
would be
way I
surprised
see it.
because
Yeah.
there are many World Cup, you have to beat the big side consistently. Not like
Hmm.
it's not like you just have to beat them once like ICC Test Championship.
Hmm.
So yeah, the Test Championship final I am saying. So
Yeah.
it's not a
Got
series.
you.
Yeah, just one game.
Yeah.
So to win a World Cup, they have to go through England, India, and Australia in this group stage, like Super 8, and then semis, and then finals. So it's a big hurdle that you can say. Like there are many hurdles. If they go through it, then it will be easier for them. But I don't think so, Afghanistan, because there are many good teams. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, the way I see it, there's probably like five or six teams that can win it. Like any of the five or six teams can win it, and I think Afghanistan should probably be included as well,
yeah.
because they've never done it, and we've never thought that they're getting close in any of the World Cups so far. But like I won't be surprised if like Afghanistan's in the semi-final and they beat like England or someone or something like that. Like I won't be surprised. uh but let's Ishwam, do you have anything to say about
Yeah,
Afghanistan
the
on
point
the
about Afghanistan,
yeah,
what I would say is that yes, they have done extremely well, but we haven't seen them in the knockouts. And the knockout pressure is
yeah,
something which is something absolutely different. And I think Somit mentioned pretty well as well that you have to consistently beat the big sides. You just can't win two games and then suddenly you're in the final and then the pitch favors you and you win the game. It's not like that. As you said, they have to beat India, Australia to get to the
yeah,
semis. At least one of these teams to get to the semis, and then in the semis again, you will meet a strong side from the other group, whether it's England, South Africa, or West Indies. And then again in the final, you will meet another big side. So yeah, they will have to win like at least three of these games against big sides, and all of these will be knockout games. So it would be pretty difficult. But they have a good side to make it to the semis, I would say. I don't see them winning the cup, but they can make the semis. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. We'll see how we'll see how they get on against the top teams. Let's see how they play against West Indies. I think they still haven't played against West Indies. That'll be like a good benchmark to see how good they are against, because New Zealand have been really poor. Let's be honest. So
Yeah.
I feel like that result doesn't really say a lot about Afghanistan. More about New Zealand. But let's go to the West Indies. Shubham, I'll stay with you. Um, they've looked good. The hosts,
Yes.
they haven't been they haven't been challenged too much. Again, kind of similar to Afghanistan. The games that they were expected to win, they did win, and then they beat New Zealand, which probably not everyone expected, but they did.
Yeah.
And they've looked good. What has impressed you the most about West Indies and the way they've
Yeah.
gone about things?
I would give one name, Darren Sammy. I'm a big fan of that guy. Darren Sammy won the T20 World Cup in 2012, won the T20 World Cup in 2016.
He's doing the Nehra thing now, where he's like a football
Exactly.
manager on the
Yeah.
sidelines.
And
Yeah.
West Indies
Awesome.
versus
He's
Afghanistan game is in Darren Sammy Stadium. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the St. Lucia Stadium
yeah,
where Australia played yesterday. He was present for that game, Darren Sammy.
yeah. I know.
But yeah, that I would mention definitely his name, Darren Sammy, right up there as a head coach, has done pretty well. But the game which really impressed me was the game against New Zealand because they were 30 for 5 in that game.
Mm,
And then you saw a certain Sharfane Rutherford
yeah.
step up, score them 68, get them to 149. And then, honestly, with West Indies over the years, we have seen they have the power, they have the batting, but the bowling has never stepped up. Defending 149 against a pretty good New Zealand side, Akhil Hussain, Gudakesh Moti, and then Alzari Joseph. All three have done pretty well. They have spin covered, they have pace covered, they have the all-rounders in Russell and Romario Shepherd. They have the team to go all the way with the home advantage. I would say West Indies look right up there to make the semis in that group. We'll come to that group later on, but I think the game which impressed me the most was the game against New Zealand, where they came back from 30 for 5, and that's something which we don't see from a West Indies side. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah.
look good, Somit. Akil Hussain, he's in my team, by the way, if anyone was wondering. He's looking very good.
Nobody asked that. Nobody asked
Yeah,
that. Just
yeah.
telling
I'll
you.
just throw that out. Brandon King is in my team as well, just to throw that out as well. Uh,
Travis Head is with me. Played really
So
well yesterday.
okay, so uh, but the West Indies look good. I mean, Sharfin Rutherford. I mean, I think we talked about Hetmeyer probably being the name who should have been there, or at least that we thought would be there. But he's justified his selection, and the West Indies look good. I mean, I was a little worried when I saw that Romario Shepherd is technically their second pacer, and Andre Russell is their third pacer. I was like, is this a right balance? Is this a right combination? But it's worked out. Again, we'll see when they get to the Super Eights, who they're going to play with, and it's going to be tough for them as well. But they're the home team, and they'll have a lot of confidence behind them. Darren Sammy looks like the guy to do it. Somit.
Yeah, Darren Sammy, he has some good experience knockout games as well as a player, and as a coach also he has done pretty good job. If we see for Pakistan in PSL, where he has that experience to guide the T20 sides, not with the ODI and Test sides, but T20. He is the man who we have to look for, like as a coach. He has done
Hmm.
really good job. So yeah,
The relationship with him and Rovman Powell, I think, is also very key. I think in
Mhm.
that kind of situation, the coach and captain always have to have like a very strong relationship, and the thinking needs to be very similar. So I feel like that's also gelled well. Not really much else to talk about the West Indies. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about, or we can move on to the next team? Their real tests will come now in the Super Eights, but
in the Super 8s, yeah. Yeah. But it's pretty exciting to watch them play. So yeah, definitely right up there. But yeah, let's move on to the last group, which is Group D.
yeah, let's move on to the last group. The only group where qualification has not been confirmed yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
Um,
will be. Yeah,
it will be. It will
it's
be.
it's easy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Bangladesh should go through, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. So South Africa have qualified. Obviously,
Four and
they're
four. 4 and 4 for South Africa.
4-4, and interesting thing, net run rate only 0.4, 0. Yeah,
Because
Yeah,
all the
0.4.
because
matches
they
were
have won all
close.
the
Like
games.
they won one match with by 3 runs, by 1 run. So it was like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They've had all of their games have been tough. They've been really close, And I think some games they'll probably admit they were a bit lucky to win as well. Uh, but it's 4 out of 4, and they'll go into the Super 8s with confidence as well. Um, and on those New York pitches, I feel like that's just going to be a lasting memory for me. Like Enrique Norkia bowling 150 on those New York pitches, and like the Sri Lankan batsman and Nepali batsman and like the Dutch batsman trying to fend off Nokia who's bowling 150. Like that will always be a memory for me in this World Cup. Somit, let's go to you first. What have you
Somebody
made?
tweeted saying the best thing about that New York ground is now it's getting demolished.
Right, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of batsmen will feel that. A lot of bowlers will be actually very sad.
But some good memories, I
Yeah.
would say. Good
Yeah,
memories, like low scoring
Indian
games, and yeah, for
Indian
India as well
bowlers
as
will be.
everyone. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we'll get on to that actually because I think it's an interesting topic as well. But yeah, first talk to us about South Africa, man. I mean they've won all four, but all four have been close. How do you see them going through to the tournament as well as they're going through?
Yeah, won 4 out of 4. That's a good start for them. But if you look at the second group stage, then they do have some competition with England. If you ask me about which two teams will be going, then England is my first choice. And the second one will be between South Africa and West Indies. I would say West Indies has that home advantage. That's why I'm picking West Indies. And South Africa has been good, but some close matches against the weak teams as well. If you see the latest match, like against Nepal, it was Nepal who was winning that because 2 of 2 was
Yeah.
required, and yeah, and even I guess uh, in 5 overs it was the required run rate was six, somewhat 6 or 7. From there they lost. It was a bit like Pakistan match, but
Yeah,
that yeah, I don't know what he has done. His name is Gulshan, maybe. Yeah, he was a key player for their Asia Cups as well, qualifying for the Asia Cups a couple of years ago. So he didn't play well, I would say, in that those last 2 balls. Both were the similar deliveries, but he was not able to get the bat uh, ball. And yeah, it was Nepal's game, so we would have seen some change in that group. Like South Africa would have been on the second spot. Yeah,
yeah,
after Bangladesh will be winning their next match against Nepal. It's obvious. Maybe I'm saying. So yeah, South Africa has been good so far. So far, so good. And but they will be challenged in the next stage. It will not be easy for them because they have West Indies also in their team, and USA, of course,
yeah.
USA.
The
Yeah.
mighty
So
USA.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Mighty USA with Saurabh Netravalkar. But yeah, I agree with Somit there that South Africa haven't been convincing. Yeah, they have won all the 4 games, but as you say, the Nepal game, they were losing that game. The Bangladesh game as well, I would say 20 of 18. Bangladesh should have had that game in their hand. Unfortunately, that New York pitch is so difficult that if you lose a wicket, you might just fail to score run a ball. So yeah, that's what happened there as well. But yeah, as Somit mentioned, I think West Indies and England look better than South Africa from that Group 2, Super 8 Group 2, and we might just see those two teams going ahead rather than South Africa. But on paper, South Africa have a good side, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if they suddenly just start performing extremely well.
they are
So
good
it's going to
batsmen
be
actually. Like if you
yeah,
see,
yeah,
yeah,
The
yeah.
problem is
Peacock,
that none of
yeah,
their batsmen
a
feel in
batsman in
form.
form.
Yeah,
maybe
Yeah,
because of
Markram
the
as
US
well.
pitches. I
yeah,
don't know
that
if
could
That
be
if
it.
they go
definitely,
to,
that
yeah.
definitely has played a part. But Markram and Deacock, even in the IPL, never looked in form.
Mm.
So
Miller was
that
good actually.
Miller was
Miller was good in
really
Miller
good.
played
Miller
one
was
good
really good.
innings.
yeah,
Yeah, he won
Miller
one.
was really
against
good. So yeah,
Bangladesh
South
maybe.
Africa,
I don't know.
Netherlands,
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
But then,
South Africa would be I would say just might just get eliminated from the Super Eights if they don't step up.
They'll need some good results for them. They'll need to beat West Indies or England, or hopefully both for them. But yeah, their batters just don't look in form. Hopefully now that they get to the Caribbean, hopefully they get some good pitches. The other thing about the, like, we're talking about the New York pitches. I mean, the Caribbean pitches have been tough as well. Spin has been a big factor in there, and batters have, like, we'll just talk about that. I think that's been like one of the main points throughout this World Cup. Batting has been really tough to do, and it's felt a little different because we're usually so used to seeing big scores being scored and then big scores being chased as well, and just it's just numbers galore, like 200 strike rate, 220, 230, and all these big scores are being chased down. And it's just it felt like too much, even in the IPL. Like it's just gone one way too much, and now it's gone one way on the other side too much. But it still felt good to see good pitches and good bowlers actually performing as well. What have you made of the pitches, Somit? What have you like made of the conditions, and generally how the World Cup has kind of gone so far? A lot of these like 110, 115, scores being scored, and oppositions actually facing a lot of trouble in chasing these down.
Yeah, if you ask me personally, then I enjoyed this World Cup because
Hmm.
yeah, uh, like seeing this 220, 230, 240 uh, uh, totals in the IPL. It was good to see below 120, sometimes below 140. So it was a change for a fan, a T20 fan. T20 is not always a batsman's game. Ballers
Yeah.
also, yeah, ballers also have to play that. So yeah, so it was good for me overall. The experience of the World Cup was also really good. Yeah, that's it.
Shubham, what do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts on
definitely. Just to answer this question, it is pretty brittle, Kevin. Unfortunately, couldn't join us due to some personal issues, but yeah, it is brittle, quite brittle. I would say Decock Markham not in form. Riza Hendricks as well hasn't looked anything great so far. It's just been Miller and Klassen to a huge extent. So I think the top four need to step up. Not top three particular need to step up if South Africa want to make it to the semis. But yeah, the question which you asked, Nikhil, about the pitches and how this T20 World Cup has gone so far, just like 220, 250, 240, 250 is an extreme, I think 110 and 120 is also an extreme. I think the ideal balance is between 140 to 180, where you will have something for the batters. The batters who bat well, who understand conditions will get runs, and the bowlers who have the skills will get wickets and defend runs as well. So I think that balance we have missed. There have been games in the West Indies which are 140 to 180, which are fantastic. I think the West Indies New Zealand game 149 plays 137, brilliant game.
Hmm.
The Afghanistan New Zealand game, brilliant game. Yesterday Australia Scotland, pretty brilliant game. Pretty good pitch, I would say. The England
Yeah.
Australia as well, a bit high scoring, 201 played 165, but I think Australia got a way above par score on that pitch. So I think West Indies pitches have been fantastic. Dallas
The
has
more,
been fantastic.
the more,
Yeah.
the more interesting question. Sorry to cut you off. The more interesting
Yeah.
question to ask you is
Hmm.
whether you prefer the matches that we've had in the World Cup so far. So basically, the
Mhm.
100, 110 games, or do you
Yeah.
prefer the 200, 220, 230? Like, do you prefer this extreme or that extreme?
That's a tough, tough question to answer.
I feel like after going through the IPL, I am on Somit's side where it does feel a little better. Although it
Mhm.
feels very odd. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like
Yeah.
when I see the names in like a scorecard and then I see the numbers next to them and they don't make sense, I'm like, what is going
Exactly.
on?
Yeah.
This doesn't feel right. So
I
yeah.
would say that if you're looking at an extreme, I would say that you would like to go toward the 200 extreme more. It's my
Hmm.
personal opinion because, see, in Test cricket, we always have the bowlers having the upper hand. The pitches are turning from ball one, the pitches are seaming from ball one. So, Test cricket is where you have the bowlers dominating. We don't see flat pitches in Test cricket anymore. We don't see that 500, 600 games anymore, which was the case earlier. In T20, I would like to see the 200 if you want to see an extreme. Obviously, as I said, the ideal balance is 140 to 180. But if you want to see an extreme, it's 200, not 100, because
Hmm.
the because in 20 overs, if you're scoring 110 and the opposition is also finding it difficult, the pitch is not up to the standards, I would say, especially the New York one. I think I have only concerns with the New York pitch, which has been dismantled. Apart from that, Dallas was good, and everything in West Indies has been good, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's talk about the other team that most likely will qualify. We didn't talk about Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So a bit of a surprise package, would you say? I don't think a lot of people expected Bangladesh maybe not
But
like go through, but like have a good World Cup actually, because they felt like a team that's kind of on the down a little bit, and now they've had a good World Cup, so it's good for Bangladesh cricket. Yeah, what are your thoughts on
Even
Bangladesh?
I was not expecting Bangladesh before the tournament. For me, it was always South Africa and Sri Lanka. And if
Hmm.
not, the next best team for me was Netherlands. And
Hmm.
yeah, but they both didn't play well. Sri Lanka was not good in this tournament with 0 wins and two losses. And one, thank God they got 1 point because of rain.
Hmm.
And yeah, but Bangladesh played well, as I was not expecting them to qualify for the Super 8, but they played really well, and they have their game against Nepal, and I think that will be a bit challenging for them as well because Nepal looks good. The kind of competition they gave to South Africa, it was good, and it will not be easier for Bangladesh, and they will be qualifying for the next stage, like for Super 8. But again, more challenge. Like in Super 8 as well, I see them at number 4. Yeah, I can say this without any fear because Afghanistan, for me, Afghanistan is the third best team in that group because obviously India and Australia are the two who will be going. But again, as we discussed earlier, Afghanistan will be challenging, and Bangladesh game will be easier for everyone, as they will be looking for. So that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I
Shivam, you
want
want
to.
to answer Kevin's question?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to Somit's answer because it was absolutely what I would have said as well. I didn't expect
Same.
Bangladesh to go through, and Sri Lanka looked better on paper, but yeah, Somit is absolutely right there. Will Mehdi Hassan play a role in the West Indies leg? I guess yes. West Indies, as I said, spinners will come into play. They have Shakib, they have Rishad, who is bowling really well, the leg spinner.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Bangladesh have a leg spinner, which is quite rare.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that. We always see left arm spinners and off spinners, but I see Mehdi Hassan playing a role. They might drop a pacer. Right now, they're playing in with three pacers: Mustafizur, Tanzim, and Tuskin. So one of them might get dropped, and you might see Mehdi Hassan coming in for. But yeah, so that's the answer pretty much. I would say that he will play a role in the upcoming matches because Mohammedullah is bowling well as well, so they have good
Yeah.
spin options there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree as well. Bangladesh probably have surprised a few people, but I don't know how many of us expect them to get out of the Super 8s. I think that's going to be a tough asking for them. Although they have the spinners to do the job, the batting probably will need to get better, and they'll need to match. Like if they're playing against Australia, they'll have to match like whatever Australia's batters are doing or India's batters, and that feels like a bit of a tough situation for them. One last point before we kind of, if you, well, one point that we'll discuss first, then we can maybe discuss another thing if you guys want. But let's talk about some of the disappointments of the World Cup, maybe um, some of the some of the teams that have disappointed. Basically, I think New Zealand is at the top of the list. Sri Lanka will also be there as well. I don't know how much people expected from other associate nations, but I think they've basically done as well as they probably could have done. I think it was tough for them, regardless. But Sri Lanka and New Zealand, Shubham, let's go to New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand have been
Yeah.
shocking. They've been very poor.
Yeah.
It's felt like a team that I think, as I said in the first podcast, they feel undercooked. They feel like they haven't played enough cricket together, and all the parts are kind of not gelling together. They've got all the parts, but it's not all clicking. And this World Cup, very surprisingly, New Zealand are out very early on. You don't expect to see that in the ICC event. But yeah, Shubham,
Yeah,
what do you think of New Zealand's
yeah.
tournament?
Yeah, I would also add Pakistan to that list, which was
Pakistan as well. I
New
forgot
Zealand,
Pakistan.
Pakistan, Sri Lanka. But yeah, New Zealand obviously makes the top of the list because it pretty much seemed like New Zealand is definitely not only in the Super Eights, might also be in the semis because most of
Yeah.
the analysts, cricket pundits had them in the top four. Really surprised. I think Kevin made a great point that they came with no match practice. Most
Mm.
of the players who were in the IPL didn't get matches, whether it was Kane Williamson, whether it was Mitchell Santner to a huge extent, and many others as well. Then Conway was injured, Finn Allen was injured. The only players who played in the IPL was Trent Bolt and Lockie Ferguson, who have done pretty well
Yep.
in this T20 World Cup. I think we'll just see who has put in a comment. Yeah, we'll answer this as we go ahead. But yeah, coming back to New Zealand, I think really disappointing, and I think to some extent, I mean, Kane Williamson did mention that some players will continue playing, but I think Bolt has mentioned that this is his last T20 World Cup, maybe Saudi as well. So you never know. It looks like an end of an era for New Zealand to a certain extent, which is pretty disappointing because New Zealand has been right up there in ICC events, especially.
Yeah, but I feel like it's the right time for them to move on as well. I feel like there needs to be a little shake up in that T20 team. It feels like too same, you know. Like
Mhm,
there's
mhm.
Henry, Bolt, all of them feel like the same bowlers. And Rachin Ravindra came into the team last in that World Cup in India, and he's added something. But he's batting. He was batting at like 7 or 8, something like that. They're using him as a spinner as well, which I don't know if that's obviously his part time thing, but he looks suited more to the top of the order and not towards the bottom. But Somit, you have any thoughts on New Zealand and them not qualifying? It's surprising, and it feels, as Shubham said, it's the end of like this golden generation with Saudi, Bolt, Williamson. I think before that, Martin Guptill and all those guys were there. They've moved on
Exactly,
now.
exactly.
Now it
Yeah,
looks like these
exactly.
guys are going to move on as well. Sad.
They need a completely new team now, but maybe Rachin leading the side. I don't know.
Mm,
But
mm.
yeah, they were poor throughout the tournament. Maybe as I mentioned earlier in our previous podcast, that is this due to IPL, like lack of practice. But
Mm.
yeah, lack of practice is one of the things we have to mention, because they didn't group up well,
Yeah.
and that might have caused them the World Cup, the T20 World Cup. So yeah, they were poor, and it's important, like how England also pulled up their players to group up. Their main motive was to group up their players for the upcoming big event. But Australia, if you see, it's completely different with Australia. Australia played that the Australian players played the playoffs as well, and look at the performance, like how they are performing for 4 on 4. So yeah, it depends, but for New Zealand it was one of the reason, like no uh, no experience playing together for maybe some 3 to 4 months. Regrouping was not there, and communication gaps maybe. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all. And I also wanted to add a bit on Kevin's previous question, going into the Super 8, which is the best batting and bowling lineups to look forward. So for this, my answer would be, for bowling, I would pick India, because some good bowlers, Bumrah, Arshdeep, and Siraj, Hardik's performing really well, and we do have some great spinners. And if we talk more on best batting lineup for the Super 8, I would go with Australia's or England's. England will be my first choice, and then I would go with Australia. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
what are
I
your
agree.
thoughts on that? Both, you
Um.
both can answer this.
I agree with Somit. I think England looks the best batting lineup with the explosiveness and the experience they have in that lineup. With bowling, India slash Australia, I would go Australia as well with Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, the golden trio with Adam Zampa looks fantastic, along with India, as you said, Bumrah. Arshdeep, Kuldeep, if once he comes in, and then Akshar, Jadeja, Hardik, as you said. So yeah, batting England and bowling Australia/India. Yeah, Nikhil.
What do you think, Nikhil?
Uh, I mean, both of you have given good answers. I think I'd answer similarly as well. Well,
Yeah,
I'll change the question just so we get different answers. Uh,
yeah.
like I'll just tell you a batting order that I'm looking forward to see how they do. We talked about them before. South Africa. I want to see how South Africa adjusts to these kind of conditions, because their batting needs to really get it together now. They've had some time to kind of think about, they know that their bowling's obviously been the main. It's been their main weapon throughout this World Cup, and they know that their batting has to get better. And we'll see how their batting does. Klaasen will obviously love the spinners in the West Indies, and yeah, the top order needs to get runs. I still think Markram is a good player. He's looked a little out of sorts. I think he's a perfect player, honestly, for these conditions. I'm very surprised that he hasn't done well. I always thought that Markram would have a good World Cup because his technique
I love
is
his
well
technique
suited
actually.
to conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so how he gets that technique to work for him in T20s is even brilliant. Like the way he finds gaps and the way he times the ball. He doesn't hit the big sixes, but he finds the gaps. He's running the twos and he's hitting the boundaries. I feel like that's a perfect technique to have in these conditions. And bowling, um,
Yeah, just to quickly, just to add on your point, Nikhil, you mentioned about Markram. I remember in 2018, 2019, Virat Kohli had tweeted out saying Markram is too good to watch. I
mm,
still remember that
yeah.
because he was just timing the ball so well. And as you said, yeah, he's perfect for these conditions. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he was earmarked as their skipper, wasn't he? He was the under 19
Correct.
World Cup
Yeah,
captain.
yeah.
But
2014.
yeah,
2014. Yeah.
yeah. To the bowling point, let's see. Um, yeah, I guess India. I'd like to see how India's spinners get into the competition. I think we'd all agree that India probably have one of the better spinners in the World Cup. I think our attack is very varied. I mean, we don't have an off spinner, but other than that, our attack is very varied. I feel Jadeja and Akshar Patel, even though they're similar, they offer you different things. I feel, and
Yeah.
hopefully Kuldeep gets into the team as well.
Oh,
But yeah, India, yeah,
so you are saying that three left-arm spinners will be playing for India, right?
Yeah.
I
Will
think
that be
so.
first time in the history in Indian cricket, like three left-arm spinners playing together?
Could be,
If
I
we
think so,
could,
yes. I think so, yes.
unless
yeah,
unless these three have played before.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. I don't
I
think so
don't think so. Jadeja
because
and Akshar
whenever
have played
Jadeja
a lot
played,
of test
Mhm.
cricket together,
Yeah,
but
Hmm.
never a white ball cricket. I don't think they
yeah,
have played together. And all three, I don't think they
yeah.
have played together. Yeah.
Jadeja and Kuldeep played, Jadeja and Aksar played, but I don't
Yeah,
think so. These three have played together. Yeah,
yeah, that'll be good to see. Good for my auction points as well if Kuldeep plays
Yeah,
finally.
that
we,
anyways
we
will
really
be.
have a good bowling unit, but they need to step in big matches like knockouts. If
Yeah,
these big names don't take wickets, don't perform well in knockout stages, then it's of no use, I would say. Yeah, we have
yeah.
some
I
good
think
bowlers. Like how many options do we have? We can we can give we can give bowling to 8 players maybe.
yeah.
Bowlers,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think all eyes are going to be on how India does in the knockouts. It feels like
exactly.
until India wins that ICC trophy.
Semi-final exit incoming.
Yeah,
Uh,
all these
shut up.
people like Shubham, all the pressure is going to
Yeah.
keep piling on
This
until they
guy
win.
this guy predicted that India will be losing against Pakistan as well. So don't worry.
Which
Yeah,
they should have lost. If you look at
Yeah,
cricket, by cricketing logic, they should have lost that game. Pakistan bottled that chase, to be honest. You would
yeah,
agree with me on that. But
yeah.
yeah, let's answer a couple of questions coming in. Is this the last T20 World Cup for Conway and Mitchell as well? Not for Darren Mitchell for sure. Devon Conway, I don't know. I'm not sure
I
here.
don't think
I
so.
don't think it's the last T20 World Cup. I don't think. I know the options they have is Rachin Ravindra and Finn Allen opening, but I think Conway has a pretty 3 to 4 good cricketing years in his career. So I would say, and he will come back to the IPL if he performs. Then you're definitely looking back at him for New Zealand
The
as well. So yeah,
interesting question is will it be Williamson's last T20 World Cup?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Will they
I
move on
think
to
so.
something
I
else?
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so
Yeah.
because he's not even like pretty much fancied in these T20 circuits as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
Williamson might be
As long
gone
Next
as
will
as
be
well.
Kohli's last 26 T20 World Cup. Kohli's
No,
last World Cup.
if India don't win this T20 World Cup, then it's Rohit and Kohli's last T20 World Cup.
Yeah,
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 let's
that
not
might
talk.
happen.
Let's not think about that for now.
Okay, but yeah, besides Miller, do we have an explosive left-hander in the middle overs across teams? He's asking
If
across teams.
Pant
I think
would have, yeah, if Pant
Pant
would
is
have
batting at
batted in,
three,
yeah,
but
I know.
I
That's why.
would say Sharfin Rutherford for West Indies.
Hmm.
Then for Australia, no, Matthew Wade is batting at number 7, so I wouldn't call him middle overs.
Yeah.
He will not bat in the middle overs. Yeah, but Shivam Dube, if he gets to play spin, can be an explosive left-hander. But
Imad
apart
Wasim
from
as
that,
well.
Moeen Ali, Imad Wasim, yeah, maybe Moeen Ali says Kevin, which is correct. Moeen Ali for England, but yeah, not many. But I think
Sam Curran
almost
got a game the other day. Sam Curran
yesterday.
bats left-handed, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
is he a right-handed? Okay.
No, no, he's left-handed. But
Sam
yeah,
Curran got
let's come to the last point of the day, Nikhil, and then we can probably wrap it up. And which
yeah.
is
Yeah. So
so I
I
will go ahead and ask Somit. Somit being the local, what do you think? Are you following the game, or are your friends, all those US friends which you have, are they following the game?
Yeah, they are following the game. We do have a group. I think you are also in that group and other
No, I'm
groups as
asking
well.
about locals. We are not locals.
Wait, locals in the sense Indians?
Americans. Americans.
Americans.
Americans. Okay,
I mean, the
Americans.
other day you
Okay.
saw
They, yeah,
Times Square.
there are my
Times Square is full.
class. Yeah, there are some of my classmates in chemical engineering department. There are two people, so we have a group. So on each and every ball, we used to chat in that group during that India versus Pakistan intense match. So yeah, they are following. Like to answer your question, they are following the cricket, and I think I'll be able to bring one of them uh, in the podcast maybe. I don't know,
Okay,
but
good.
after some time, yeah, let's see.
That's great. That's great. Let's get him signed on. Let's get him signed
Yeah,
on as
let's
quickly as
hear it.
possible.
Let's hear it from their own
But
mouths.
they
Yeah.
are
I will send.
ABCD, okay? They are not
Oh,
ABCD, Yeah, yeah.
Please
I don't know.
explain what is
We,
ABCD to
I
our
don't know if
viewers.
ABCD
Amer-
qualifies.
American born, confused or slash C, uh, they see,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's
So
C, yeah,
yeah, we can't go much into details on
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
podcast,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah.
Nikhil, I think Somit is not getting the question. By locals, I mean who have born and brought up in USA, not Indians. Like they don't have any Indian origin. You understood?
Americans.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, proper
Americans,
Americans who
proper
follow the
Americans.
base for the baseball game and all that stuff. So like those guys.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've
so
had
I don't have any
just before
friends.
just before you go into it, we've had such good content. Honestly, that Dale Steyn thing, that was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
that was great. That was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dale Steyn bowls the first ball directly on the stumps.
Yeah,
The
and he
joke is
says
no,
it should
you're
be
not
bounced.
supposed to bowl on the stumps. You have to bounce it. That was funny. So I don't know, man. I mean, Somit, you go for it. You were
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
something.
that's what I'm saying. I don't have any Gora friends, but I do
Okay.
have some
Okay.
ABCDs. Yeah,
Right.
American born
So
people, Indians, but because I have not seen any proper American like watching cricket. I have not seen. There might be some people, but I have not seen. But
yeah,
Indians, yeah, for sure, like who are from India, whose ancestors are from India.
yeah,
So they have interest in cricket. So yeah.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think
if you
I'll.
ask me, Nikhil, yeah, go ahead, Nikhil. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll just say that I think the answer is very similar. I think it's the immigrant community which has
Yeah.
basically bought into all of this. Many of my friends went to Dallas to see a few games. One of my friend drove like 3 hours to get to Dallas to watch a game, and so basically the immigrant community has bought into it completely. I think for them, it's amazing, right? Like it's the game has followed them basically, and why won't you go? I think it's the same for like Aussies who are living here, English people who are living here, Bangladeshis, all the South Asian people. I think that's amazing. You get to you probably never expected, especially people who've been here for like 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, you never expected cricket to be played here, and especially like top level ICC events being played here. And I think it's just something, it's part of your history that you get to see, part of your like culture. Really, it's like part of our identity, so you get to see that, and it's good for that. But the Americans and the white people, yeah, there's no one knows. I mean, the other, I think I saw in the New York Times, I think it was India versus Pakistan, the basketball score stuff. Like, no one,
119
no,
played. Yeah, 119, 113. India won that game.
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that
So
game. Yeah,
no one has a
119,
clue.
113.
Six
Yeah,
points different.
went to
Yeah.
the last minute as well, I think.
But
So,
India
but yeah,
versus
I think.
USA was just one point difference, so it was too close. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
But yeah,
if they were told to cover that game, but obviously India Pakistan. I think some people knew, like few people knew, like okay, this something big is happening, and if any American has either Indian or Pakistani friends, that's the only way they'll know. But other
Yeah.
than that, like no one knows what's happening. It's I don't know, like the pitches have not worked well in the US. I think the whole Florida leg is going to get scrapped. Or do we have a game today?
we have a game. We have a game. Ireland have
No.
lost 3 wickets. But
Yeah, we
yeah,
have a
I
game.
think
Okay.
I agree with Nikhil that the US people don't really care also about the game. They have their own game called baseball. So they are not following the game at all, if you ask me. The local
They have
Americans.
multiple games to follow.
Yeah, yeah, so they honestly they don't even know that the T20 World Cup is happening in US. If you ask a couple of Americans, they're like, which game, where is it happening, and all that stuff. So they don't know exactly what is happening yet. And even I think Nasir Hussain mentioned that he came for the immigration, and the the officer was like, "Why are you here for?" He said, "The cricket." He's like, "What is that? Where are they playing it?" So yeah, it's like pretty disappointing that they couldn't get the local Americans following the game. But yeah, as you said, the huge Indian population, Pakistani population, the expats are getting interested in the game, and that is a market which ICC has tapped in, and with the MLC, and then probably the Los Angeles Olympics, where cricket will be a part of, could be the way to go forward for cricket in USA. But yeah,
Yeah.
not the locals as of now.
Yeah, until you get like cricket in like the schooling systems,
Hmm.
and young
Correct.
kids are playing cricket, only then like the organically it will grow. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep having West Indies and other players, Indian players coming in to play for the US. But it's a good start. There's still a long way for this country to go, and it's a good start. The As I said, it's very big for the immigrants actually, because one of my friends' family I was talking with, like the father and the mother of one of my friends, and they were very excited. They were like, I think they'd been following like the tickets and everything for like months and months, and they'd planned everything from a few months before, and all of these people are very excited. And as Shubham said, ICCA has tapped into the market, this market, and it's been very successful on that front. But on the other front, on the cricketing front, on like the quality of cricket we've had, New York has been a poor pitch by all means, and Florida, it's been we have one game today, but the rest of the games have been washed out. Dallas, where you actually have a proper cricketing complex, you got some good games there, and the cricket was good over there. But other than that, it's been kind of poor, and yeah, basically it's just a starting point, this, and then now you just build on from there. But anyway, we'll see how that happens. It's not as if any of us are going to play for Team
Yeah.
USA,
Yeah,
even
just an
though.
update. I finished my toast.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Which is also a sign
So
that maybe we have to end this podcast.
yeah, now it's time. Yeah. Okay. So we'll end the podcast here. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for commenting. Thank you Kevin for commenting. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you probably next weekend, Shubham.
Yeah, I think we
Or
don't have that many important games this week. As if
yeah,
as in the first Monday, Tuesday, we have just the Dead Rebels in the group stage, and then I think Thursday, Friday is when the Super 8 start. So probably we can do it on Saturday, which we do normally. So yeah, let's have a podcast on Saturday, and that
Saturday
will
India plays, so we could do it on Sunday.
correct. Okay. Perfect. New York Stadium is being dismantled. That's the biggest news of the T20 World Cup, and that's the greatest news of the T20 World Cup, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you Shubham. Thank you Somit for joining me. And yeah, we'll see you next weekend.
And
Thank you.
watch out for some clips on Instagram.
Yeah,
And follow us on
please, please.
Instagram as well. Follow us on Instagram as well. Thank
Yeah,
you very
follow
much.
us on Instagram and watch out for our reels and comment as well, like as well.
Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
End stream. End
Yeah. So